Have you ever looked at ancient symbols and just wondered? Like, were they just doodles? Or were they echoes of something massive they saw up in the sky? Well, we're about to dive into this incredible connection between ancient art right here on Earth and these spectacular, once-in-a-lifetime shows in the cosmos. This is going to be fun. I mean, think about it. It's a fantastic puzzle, right? How could people, separated by huge oceans and thousands of years, somehow come up with the exact same complex symbols? It seems impossible. Well, the answer is going to take us on a journey from the very first human settlements all the way to the edge of our solar system. And it all starts with this one shape, the spiral. You've seen it everywhere. It's one of the oldest, most stubborn symbols in all of human history. It feels primal, doesn't it? Almost like it's hardwired into our DNA. So, our journey really kicks off by asking, what was this ancient recurring memory all about? Okay, so first let's look down. Let's look at the patterns our ancestors were carving into the world all around them, trying to make sense of everything. And the one they came back to over and over again was that mysterious spiral. And a perfect example of this, well, let's call it an obsession, comes from the Cucuteni Tripelia people over in Eastern Europe. And look, these weren't simple hunter-gatherers. No way. They built these enormous, planned-out settlements and made some of the most incredible pottery of the ancient world. And their favorite design? By a long shot? You guessed it, the spiral. It was absolutely everywhere. And this is so important to get. This was not just some pretty pattern they liked. For them, the spiral was a deeply profound symbol. Archaeologists think it could have represented the journey of the soul, the idea of life after death, or maybe even a map of consciousness itself. This simple little shape was helping them tackle the biggest questions imaginable. And here's the kicker. It wasn't just one culture, not even close. From these huge stone carvings at Newgrange in Ireland, all the way to Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, some of the oldest structures on Earth, they all have this exact same symbol. It was like this shared human impulse, a truly global thing. But the spiral has a counterpart, another symbol that points to an even weirder origin. All right, let's shift gears. Let's look at our next symbol and see how we go from a pattern on the ground to a pattern in the sky. This one is way more complex, way more specific, and its origin story is, well, it's literally out of this world. Okay, so we have to be really clear about this next one, because this symbol was, infamously hijacked in the 20th century, but for literally thousands of years before that, the swastika was a totally separate, widespread symbol all across the planet. Its name actually comes from Sanskrit. It means to be good. That's it. For tons of cultures, from India to the Americas, it was this powerful symbol of good luck, well-being, the divine. Its original history is just overwhelmingly positive. So, this brings us right back to our big mystery. A simple spiral? Okay, maybe that pops up on its own in a few places. But a complex, geometric shape like this one, showing up in cultures that had zero contact with each other, how is that even possible? Well, one of the greatest scientific minds ever had a theory, and it is a wild one. That brings us to the legend himself, Carl Sagan. He looked at this ancient puzzle down here on Earth, and he found the spectacular answer up in the sky. It's a solution so elegant, so mind-bending, it completely changes how you see the ancient world. So, in his book, Comet, which he wrote with Druyan, Sagan proposed this totally radical idea. He imagined this ancient event in the sky, something none of us have ever seen. A very, very specific kind of comet paying a visit to Earth. Okay, let's break this down. Picture this. You've got a comet nucleus, basically a giant, dirty snowball of ice and rock, and it's tumbling through space. As it gets closer to the sun, it heats up and starts to spin faster and faster. Then, jets of gas and dust just burst from its surface. Now, here's the key. What if 4 of these jets turned on at once? The fast rotation would whip those streams of gas into a brilliant spinning pinwheel. And from down here on Earth, it would look exactly like a swastika, just blazing across the night sky. Incredible, right? And get this isn't just a cool theory, we actually have evidence. Ancient Chinese astronomers, who were, by the way, the most obsessive comet watchers in history, they cataloged comets by their shape. And in this atlas from the 3rd century BC, they drew it, a pinwheel-shaped comet. They even gave it a name, the long-tailed pheasant star. This is the smoking gun. It proves a real astronomical event, seen by everyone on Earth, could absolutely become a divine symbol. Okay, so let's pause. We've got one symbol born from the patterns of the Earth and another one born from this blazing visitor from space. So what does this all tell us about, well, us? It actually reveals our deepest, most fundamental instinct as a species. It's that we are hardwired to find patterns. But it's more than that. We're hardwired to give them meaning. A spiral you see in a seashell or a whirlpool isn't just physics to us. It becomes a metaphor for the journey of life. And that pinwheel in the sky, it's not just a random comet. No, it has to be a message from the gods. And this really breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the spiral, an everyday pattern from right here on Earth that we turn into a map for the soul. And on the other side, the comet, this rare, terrifyingly beautiful event from space that becomes a global symbol of divinity. It's what we do. We take the universe and all its chaos and beauty, and we turn it into a story about ourselves. But our story with these cosmic visitors isn't over, not by a long shot. Our relationship with them has changed so much since we were carving symbols on rocks. So now, let's take a huge leap from our deep, deep past into our seriously speculative future. For thousands of years, comets were omens, right? They were signs of doom or big change. But today, we see them so differently. We don't see them as messages anymore. We see them as material. I mean, they're packed with water, minerals, organic compounds, literally the building blocks of life. And this brings us to one of the most amazing, out-there ideas in all of physics from another legend, Freeman Dyson. He came up with something called comet trees. Okay, stay with me here. The idea is that future humans could plant these genetically engineered seeds inside a comet. And using the comet's own water and minerals, and powered by the sun, these seeds would grow into gigantic trees, creating living, breathing habitats out in deep space. Comets would literally go from being symbols of our ancient past to being the seeds of our far future. So that leaves us with this final, kind of staggering thought. Our ancestors looked up at a comet and saw divine messages that shaped their entire world for thousands of years. But our descendants, they're going to ask a totally different question. Not just, what do we see in the comets, but what can we build with them? Think about that shift from reading our destiny in the stars to actually going out there and building it among them. What a journey. Thanks for diving in with me on this one.